I think StarCraft 2 is the chess of the 21st century because it builds this idea of strategy and counters and thinking, and there's a crazy amount of mind games that go into especially high-level StarCraft matches.
In chess, you start with these specific set of pieces, and then you move the pieces one at a time. You take turns and alternate. In StarCraft 2, instead of taking turns, it's all just happening constantly.
Easy to learn, difficult to master is one of our mantras here at Blizzard, and I would say StarCraft is really almost in the impossible to master category. This is a game that I fully expect people to be playing, many, many years from now and still make mistakes.
Decrypting security overrides. Crane control established.
StarCraft 2 is a great learning tool. I think we've got this way where you can kind of ramp up and you can learn as you go along, where maybe modding in other games and other engines, you might have to start straight from being a programmer.
Everybody who becomes a modder is originally a player.
I think the thing that separates a mod maker from a lot of the folks is that creative urge that just simply will not be denied.
It really all just comes from that passion for the game. I
have a bunch of mod makers on my team now, or guys who came out of the Warcraft 3 mod making community and are now senior designers in many cases on StarCraft 2, and just amazing, amazing developers. And these, in many cases, these are people who have this weird creative urge that cannot be stomped on.
The best part about developing the editor is when you actually see somebody able to use it to make a cool game experience, whether that's one of our designers or an end user, and you see what they were able to do with the tool that I've made. That's really satisfying.
The cutscene editor is a new tool that we're adding to the StarCraft 2 editor that allows people to take existing art assets and create cutscenes out of them. They can place the new models into your scene, change the animations, anything you'd expect in an advanced animation or cutscene or movie editor. The main reason we developed the cutscene editor was because we had a hard time making the cutscenes ourselves. Kind of like everything we do with the editor, when we make something cool for ourselves, the modding community also gets to have it.
One of the most interesting topics to me is how to communicate with the new player. I want to start with a given set of information, then I want to make a statement, and then I'm actually going to stop and make sure that it was clear.
Certainly StarCraft, I think, teaches a lot of forward thinking. It's not enough to just play your race at this moment. You're also playing your race at the next moment, and you should be playing his. I think it also teaches you a certain amount of empathy, right, in terms of understanding what other humans are thinking or doing. I'm not sure you'll use it for good reasons. You maybe use it to crush them in a game, right? But it teaches you to understand, what the other humans, around you are trying to accomplish and what the tools they would do to do that.
Teaching and learning for players is something that we have to think all the way, through, as far as even just looking at a simple design or how you move a character or how you move the camera in order to move your guy around the screen. It's something that we take for granted.
What we're trying to do here is see if these guys can beat the first couple of missions in our game to see if we're teaching the right stuff. We've already seen 20 different things we can do a better job at teaching these guys how to play the game. We've seen a lot of frustrating moments where they're clicking in the wrong times.
The reason I was so drawn to StarCraft at first is that it was the one game where it always felt like you could do something different. Always felt like there was some way you could improve. My brother and I loved competing in tons of games when we were younger because you get a little tired playing just against the computer. It's way too predictable, but then you throw a human in there and there's this unpredictability, or they start to have patterns based upon their personality. But the problem that we'd have with all the other games is that you'd eventually solve the game.
We set out originally to make editors for learning, but I think the potential is massive. I believe if we can put some sort of reward that's much more about entertainment or application that is fun behind why we're learning things, that there's so much more potential to get that connection rather than just I'm doing this because an outside source is saying I need to.